The afternoon sun burned over the endless horizon of Burkina Faso. The road was nothing more than a trail of dust, scattered with stones and dry weeds. Heat shimmered above the earth, and with every step, little clouds rose into the golden light. On that road walked a girl, barefoot, her dress torn at the edges, her small body trembling under the weight she carried. Her name was Aminata. She was no more than 10 years old. On her back, tied with a faded scarf, clung her little brother Musa, his face pale and lips dry. His forehead burned with fever, yet he was too weak even to cry. Aminata stumbled often, but she never let Musa slip. With every fall, she would whisper to him softly. "Hold on, little one. We are going to the place where they will make you better. I will not stop." Her parents were gone, taken by a sudden wave of malaria that swept through their village. Her mother's hands had once braided her hair, her father's voice had once promised safety. Now, silence remained. Aminata, though only a child, had become both mother and father to Musa. The nearest clinic lies many miles away. Aminata had no shoes, no food, and no water. Yet she walked, guided only by love stronger than fear. Her eyes burned from the dust, her lips cracked, and her legs wobbled, but she pressed forward. She had learned early that no one would save them if she gave up. Villagers who passed glanced at her, some with pity, some with indifference, but none stopped. For them, suffering was too common, too ordinary. But fate had already set another path that day. Far away, a convoy of military trucks approached, dust swirling behind their wheels, flags fluttering. At the head of the convoy sat Captain Ibrahim Traoré, leader, soldier, and son of the same soil that Aminata walked upon. He was returning from an inspection of rural security posts, his face tired yet steady. His soldiers sang low songs to keep their spirits, but Ibrahim sat quietly, watching the road ahead. He had always believed that leadership was not about command alone, it was about eyes that saw what others ignored. And then, as the convoy turned a bend, he saw her. A tiny figure, almost swallowed by the sun and dust, carrying another child on her back. She staggered, fell to her knees, then rose again. The convoy slowed. A soldier muttered. "Just another poor villager, Captain. Should we pass?" But Ibrahim raised his hand. His gaze sharpened, his jaw tightened. "Stop." The truck screeched and settled into silence. Soldiers exchanged puzzled looks. Ibrahim stepped down, boots crunching against the gravel. His red beret caught the sunlight like fire. He walked alone toward the little girl, leaving his guards behind. Aminata froze, afraid. Soldiers and men in uniforms meant danger in her world. She tried to turn away, but her legs gave out, and she fell on the road with Musa still clinging weakly to her back. Ibrahim knelt before her, lowering himself until his eyes were level with hers. His voice was gentle, nothing like the commanding tone his soldiers knew. "Little one, why are you walking alone in this heat?" The tears she had held back for hours broke loose. With trembling lips, she whispered. "My brother, he is sick. The clinic is far. But I must take him. If I stop, he will die." Her words cut deeper than any bullet. Ibrahim placed his hand softly on Musa's forehead, burning with fever. His heart clenched. This was not just a sick boy. This was the truth of his people, hidden behind statistics and reports. This was the face of the struggle he had sworn to end. Ibrahim looked into Aminata's tearful eyes and said quietly, "You will not walk alone anymore." The convoy behind Ibrahim waited in silence. Soldiers shifted uneasily, confused why their captain had stopped for a barefoot child. Some glanced at each other, whispering, "Why does he care? We have places to be. He is the captain. If he says stop, we stop." But Ibrahim didn't hear them. His entire attention was fixed on Aminata and Musa. He reached for his canteen and gently poured water into the little boy's mouth. Musa stirred, weak but grateful, a faint sound escaping his throat. Aminata clutched the hem of her dress, still unsure whether to trust this man in uniform. Ibrahim saw the fear in her eyes. He softened his voice further, lowering his beret. "You are safe. I promise you." "What is your name?" "Aminata," she whispered. "And your brother?" "Musa." Ibrahim nodded. He stood, then motioned to his medic. A soldier hurried forward with a medical bag. But Ibrahim himself lifted Musa from Aminata's back, cradling him in his arms as though he were his own son. The boy was frighteningly light, bones pressing through skin. The soldiers froze. They had never seen their commander carry a sick child in the middle of the road. Some lowered their eyes in shame, realizing how easily they would have driven past. Aminata, watching, felt her fear ease just a little. Ibrahim turned to her. "Come with us. Musa will get the care he needs." Her lips quivered. "But I have no money." The word stabbed Ibrahim. He knelt again, shaking his head firmly. "Kindness does not ask for money. As long as I live, you and your brother will not be left behind." A hush fell over the road. Villagers nearby had begun gathering, curious why the convoy had stopped. They saw the red-beret soldier carrying a dying child, speaking gently to a poor girl. Whispers rose. "Is that truly him? Captain Traoré? He carries a child as if he were family." For so long, villagers had only seen leaders in black cars speeding past, distant and untouchable. But here, on the same dusty road, stood a leader who had chosen to kneel in the dirt beside a child. Ibrahim walked back toward the truck, Musa still in his arms. Before climbing inside, he glanced at the crowd. His voice was calm but carried weight. A nation is measured not by the strength of its soldiers, but by the way it protects its children. Remember this. The word struck every ear. Some villagers lowered their heads in shame, realizing how easily they had ignored Aminata's struggle. Aminata climbed into the truck beside Ibrahim, holding his sleeve tightly as though it were her last lifeline. For the first time in days, she allowed herself to believe Musa might live. As the convoy moved again, the villagers remained on the road, silent, the image burned into their hearts, a soldier leader who carried a sick child instead of a weapon. And so began the journey that would change not only Aminata's life, but the fate of her entire village. The village square still buzzed with energy long after the chief's sons had been led away. People lingered under the baobab tree, speaking freely for the first time in years. Where once there had been fear, now there was a fragile, glowing hope. Ibrahim did not leave immediately. He walked among the villagers, shaking hands, listening to their words, hearing their pain. Every story, every hunger, every loss, etched itself into his heart. For him, justice was not complete with punishment, it had to be followed by restoration. That evening, Ibrahim gave his first order. "Open the storerooms." Soldiers and villagers together broke the locks that had long guarded the grain and medicine. Bags of millet and maize were carried out into the square and distributed freely to the people. Mothers clutched food with trembling hands, some weeping as though it were gold. Children laughed as they tasted bread for the first time in weeks. From the medicine jars, treatments were handed to the sick. Ibrahim himself carried a packet to a frail old man who could barely walk. "This is yours," he said softly. "No one will take it away again." The next morning, Ibrahim gathered the elders and spoke plainly. A village cannot survive on fear. It must grow on knowledge, on health, on dignity. From today, a teacher will come here. A doctor will come here. Soldiers will protect, not control, you. And the wealth of this land will be shared by those who till it, not those who hoard it. The elders nodded, some ashamed, others relieved. For the first time, the villagers felt that a leader's promises were not empty words. Later, Ibrahim visited the medic's tent. Musa was still weak, but his fever had broken. His eyes fluttered open, and he looked at his sister with a tired but real smile. Aminata clapped her hands in joy, pressing her forehead to his. Ibrahim knelt beside them, his voice gentle. Musa is strong. He will live. Aminata's eyes filled with tears. Because you helped us. Ibrahim shook his head softly. Because you carried him. Aminata, never forget this, one act of courage can change the fate of many. You carried your brother, and because of you, an entire village found its voice. The little girl bit her lip, unsure how to answer. She whispered shyly. But I am just a girl. Ibrahim smiled warmly. No. You are the proof that even the smallest hands can carry the heaviest burdens. And I promise you, as long as I live, I will carry mine with the same courage you showed. Before leaving, Ibrahim stood once more under the baobab tree, addressing the entire village. The people listened in reverent silence. You have suffered. You have been silenced. But today you rise again. I promise you this, never again will your children be left alone on the road. Never again will your hunger feed another's greed. This village will be a place where kindness is law, where justice is the breath of every home. And together, we will build it. The villagers erupted into cheers and tears. Some raised their hands, others fell to their knees. For them, this was not just a promise, it was the rebirth of hope. And Aminata, clutching Musa, whispered to her brother. He kept us alive. He kept us all alive. The sky blushed with the colors of dawn as the convoy prepared to depart. Villagers lined the road, not with fear, but with gratitude. Women carried baskets of fruit and water as gifts, though Ibrahim gently refused, saying, Keep these for your children. For once, the village was alive with laughter, children chasing each other barefoot, old men smiling through their wrinkles, mothers humming songs they had long forgotten. The air that had once carried silence and despair now carried the fragile melody of renewal. Ibrahim stood by the medic's tent one last time. Musa, though still weak, managed to sit up on his mat. His cheeks had regained a hint of color, and his smile, small, but real, lit Aminata's face with joy. The little girl held Ibrahim's hand tightly, her eyes pleading. Will you come back? Ibrahim bent down so his eyes met hers. He placed a hand on her shoulder, strong yet gentle. Aminata, a true leader does not live in every village. But his heart must. I may not always be here, but my promise remains with you. And when you grow, you will keep carrying others, just as you carried Musa. Her lips trembled, and she whispered. I will. I swear it. Ibrahim smiled, brushing a tear from her cheek with the back of his hand. Then I know this village is safe. As the trucks roared to life, Ibrahim climbed aboard, his red beret catching the morning sun. He looked once more at the people gathered, their faces glowing with hope. He raised his voice so all could hear. Do not wait for miracles to fall from the sky. Be the miracle for each other. Protect your children. Share your bread. Stand for justice. This is how we build a nation worthy of its people. The crowd erupted in cheers, tears streaming down their faces. Some shouted blessings, others simply pressed their hands over their hearts. Aminata and Musa stood at the front, waving with all their strength. The girl's voice carried over the noise, trembling but filled with pride. Thank you, Ibrahim Traoré. The convoy rolled forward, leaving behind trails of dust. But in the hearts of the people, no dust could cover what had been awakened. That evening, as the sun set over the baobab tree, Aminata sat beside Musa outside their small hut. The air was cooler now, carrying the smell of freshly baked bread shared among neighbors. For the first time in her short life, Aminata did not feel alone. She looked at her brother, who was drifting to sleep, and whispered softly. "Do you see, Musa? Kindness still lives in this world. We were not forgotten." Above them, the stars blinked awake. And in the quiet of the night, Aminata held her brother close, her heart burning with a truth she would carry forever. Strength is not in power, nor in fear, but in kindness that dares to kneel beside the weak.